Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in the Your Little Castles studio. I'm about as excited as I've ever been. There's a hit song that I was actually in the video by one of the Murphy Lee and J.E. and it said, "I'm back." I said, "Welcome back to the studio."
Well, thanks for having me back, Carter. It's been I think about 3 years now.
Yeah, we're coming up on close to 3 years total because it does take a little time sometimes between to just absorb everything. And I think I'd say that's a good. Maybe we want people to come back once every 6 weeks if depending on what we got going on. But you got real busy, started a new company. Company's doing great, and now you get to be in the studio again to kind of talk about some updates and some fun stuff that you're doing that are really cool for the business.
Yep.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you will allow me to introduce Isaac Ovchinikov. And Isaac and I have been buddies now for a few years. He was our first ever guest on the Cowboy and Judge show with our program we had when we said, hey, we got some famous people, but we need to have some business people on too. So he was one of our first business people, if not the first business person we had on. And this all carried over now. Now it's the Your Little Castle show, and this is show number 52 for the Your Little Castle. So we had to get him on before we went one full year. So he's on week 52 on the Your Little Castle show right here in our new studio. That's been updated with our double TV walls and all the fun stuff we have here. So Isaac, welcome to the show, and thanks for coming out.
Well, thanks for having me back. I'm excited, man. It's like I said, it's been a while. But I had such good results after the first go around. It kind of speaks for itself. I mean, we got so busy, jumped into full-on growth mode, and since then I've delegated a few of my tasks out and kind of resolved myself back into the marketing game. I've got a full-time project manager right now that runs and took that off my plate. I've got a full-time sales rep that also took over the sales for me as well. So it's things are working out pretty good, but naturally there's always growing pains to where we're constantly evolving and improving our systems. And, we're just getting better and better at everything we do. We'll find some hiccups here and there, but we get over it. And number one thing, we just try to take care of our customers 100% of the time. And that's the number one thing. They refer you if they're happy, and that's what we aim for.
Well, we're going to talk about that. You've had some great success. You've got some great reviews. You've got some great business. I mean, I'm just really excited for you. And when you told me, we'll mention this. We met with you a week or so ago to talk about coming back on and how are things going. And I didn't realize how well you had done and how well that video really you felt helped you to bring in some business.
Yeah. Well, it was great because also it gives me an outlet as a small business owner. It gives me a very good outlet to show the world who we are. We're not like a huge corporation with deep pockets and $1 million budgets for marketing. I mean, we're a small local St. Louis company. We're Cardinals fans, Blues fans. We're local guys with a local company. That's who we are, and we take care of our locale. That's our thing. That's
key. And so when you told me some of the results are latest, we've got a little testimonial video out there. You want to watch that? You can see some of the results Isaac says he got. Amazing. We love it, and we're glad our clients are having great results. And that's what I knew would have the impact, hopefully. So with that, a couple things I want to make sure is very clear. I'm going to go ahead and start with this right now, Isaac, because that whole show last time, I wore the hat the whole time. But Isaac is a huge Cardinals fan.
Absolutely.
Fair to say? Yep. And it's almost like, why wouldn't you be a Cardinals fan unless you came from some other part of the country and you just had your allegiance? But you've been in St. Louis all your life, right?
Well, not all my life. I moved here when I was in school, and then honestly, I had the chance to leave and go anywhere I wanted because I moved here when I was still in high school. My dad moved the family out here, and I joined the Army shortly after that, after I graduated high school. And when I got out of the Army, I didn't have a family or kids or anything, so I literally had the chance to go anywhere. But I came back to St. Louis. I like it out here and made this my home.
Yeah, I recall you did like a family background from around the world, and then you ended up here in St. Louis. So but you were relatively young. And you had it. So there is a lot of us in St. Louis. We don't really have a choice. We're born in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. You're going to be a Cardinal fan. Isaac had a choice, and he still decided to be a Cardinal fan.
I came back.
So that's awesome. Then we also want to mention, as you can see on the wall behind us here, the TV wall. We built our own little TV wall here, and it's pretty cool to have such good sponsorships like we have here, because when you've got guests coming in, you can say, hey, we're actually sponsored by Carroll House Furniture. So Brooke there and his sister, we love what they did. Brooke's been a guest on the show, but a guest on our other show, the Cowboy and Judge show, and it's nice because you like nice things. I stole that a little bit from him when I said your little castle. My little castle was taken, but I thought I'd learn from Brooke. You like nice things. You're in your little castle. How about that? So thanks to Brooke for that. And it's kind of just, it's awesome to have that kind of support from so many of those types of community leaders. With that, USA Mortgage, the Flowers team. The Flowers team has really allowed me the opportunity to help make this all happen. I've got my mortgage license, so we got our disclaimer you'll see there in the show here as we go, but because you got to put our license number and all that and everything, and all the people in our office and the location and everything you need. But it's great to have USA Mortgage, powered by the Flowers team. Steve Flowers is a buddy of mine, and awesome to have them on as a sponsor as well. So with that, we go right into, and we talked a little bit about what I wanted to make sure we mentioned, and that is Cardinals counter. He loves the Cardinals. I love the Cardinals, and the point we're trying to make is that it's a community. Baseball is supported by the small businesses because they go to games, they buy tickets, they meet people. And that's the place I say, if you want to have a great opportunity to meet some awesome people, go to the Cardinal game. It's the biggest networking event there is, and it's done 81 times a year, and you will meet some awesome, fun people. And you don't talk about business right there. You can a little bit, but some people do. But you get to meet people, and that's where I've just had so much good fortune. And Isaac, we're going to get you to the Cardinal game with us for one of these.
Oh, I'd love it, man.
This year for sure. I ended up last year. I went to 76 games out of 81.
Yeah, I'm jealous, man.
And so that turned out to be a lot of fun, and we thought it would be a great opportunity then to also push them through the playoffs, maybe. And then they got to and a great season, and just a little bit short. I was there for that game. Both games, and this year's going to be even better. We're excited, but get in there and be part of that community because it's not just about baseball; it's about your community.
Oh yeah, and honestly, St. Louis, I've lived in a lot of places, man. I have never seen a fandom like you see here in St. Louis. Like this area takes care of their teams. I can tell you that much. Compared to other places I've lived at, like out here, there's a lot of team spirit, and that's awesome. It tells you a lot about the community. People kind of band together, whole different kind of people here. One of the reasons I came back,
There you go. Well, and it's so true that because of that, I think we got the best fans in baseball.
Yeah.
The Cardinals, and it's just so much fun. And a team that doesn't have a big market, that doesn't blow tons of money like some of these other teams, but always in the playoffs, always in the hunt. And a couple World Series rings we've had recently. We're looking for another one here for our season we'll have here. And some big changes. It's going to be exciting. Well, with that, Shield Siding and Renovation, shieldsiding.com, a little update there, right?
Yeah.
And so people are aware, Shield exteriors prior, and now because you're doing more stuff, explain why you made the change and what's going on.
So there's a lot of different factors there. So, I mean, I love the name Shield Exteriors. It's a lot of, like where our roots came from, but at the same time, it's awesome, but I got to dig deeper, explain better to people what we do, all the different things we do. And we're just all around remodelers, like when it comes down to it, Shield Exteriors doesn't fully explain our scope of what we do and what we're capable of doing. Like I'm thinking in terms of growth and marketing as well to better educate our customers and to let people find us easier as well. So a lot of it came from the spelling of exteriors where it's without the first E. Again, if I'm doing like a radio ad or something, it just becomes a little more confusing for people to find us. So narrowing things down, making it easier to find us, that way we can share our knowledge with people a lot more effectively. So, well,
that's key to communication is always one of the most important components. That's why I make my joke with my fraternity brothers that all went off to be lawyers. And they've done pretty well, but some of the people get into other fields. Their jobs are getting cut, But communication, you always have got to have communication.
Oh, yeah.
Media communication. My undergrad, my master's degrees are in communications. My master's is in media communications. And that's great point, because if you are not communicating succinctly and to the point, then word's going to get lost, and it costs business.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so here we are to help you put that out there again, because the timing was right. I said, you want to be on the show, and then after you decided you wanted to come back on the show, you told me. So I wasn't like, you got to be on the show if you change your name. He said, I know I need to be on the show because I got something coming here, Carl, I'll tell you about. And so that's what we're sharing with everybody. So if you look at the big TV wall, this is our main TV wall. We got two TV walls here, but look up behind us here, siding, Shield Siding and Renovation, shieldsiding.com. That's the website right there, everybody. You see the new logo that he's got up in his corner up there. It's on the screen here in front of you guys right about there. I'm pointing down to it right there. See that, everybody? And that's only on the screen there. It's not on our walls behind us, but with our high-powered graphics and fun stuff we do here. But awesome to see you doing so well and excitement. Remind everybody why it was you decided to get into this and how that transitioned a little bit, because I think it's important to know a little bit of the background.
Yep. So we have a pretty extensive history in construction in general. I mean, I come from a construction family, but I grew up doing it. I was in the Army as a construction engineer. I mean, it's just something that I've always been doing my whole life, and I worked for other people the majority of my life, and it seemed like the right time. I mean, the season was right. I had the knowledge base, I had the confidence, and I finally had the working capital to start my own operation. So it just seemed like the right move to do for myself and my family, you know. It's time to expand ourselves.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do, and I no disrespect to anyone who says, hey, I wanted to work for someone else, and that was a great way for me to go. Some people want to have a little more responsibility and autonomy to start their own company, to say, I want to do my own thing.
Absolutely.
Present company included. But
I mean, it's really, those are the people that help you grow too. I mean, I've been blessed with so many awesome mentors in the years. Like even my former employer before I started my company, he's one of the top siding guys in this area. His company is, we worked for him for many years, and he was a great business mentor for me for many years. I learned a lot from him. So I'm forever grateful for that, My father's another one. He taught me how to work, Without work ethic, you can't really get anywhere. So, all these people that I've got to share my experiences with have really made a big difference. And that's one thing I advise to everybody is if you're young, you're looking for something to do with yourself, number one thing, get yourself some good mentors. Find out what you really are passionate about, and then find people who are awesome at what you're passionate about and talk to them. They will guide you as long as you're willing to listen. So that's the biggest piece of advice for anybody young. You're allowed to be young and dumb, make some mistakes, but get some good mentors. They'll change your world. And back to the siding aspect of things. I mean, we kind of stuck with the same trade for many years too. So I found a niche that I really enjoy, and it comes down to a sense of pride and craftsmanship as well. So you have shield siding. People ask me, well, what kind of siding do you do? Well, we do the fiber cement board James Hardie siding. We do all types of siding, but that's our specialty. That's the niche that we found that we really enjoy, because it really makes your home stand out from the rest. Whole different kind of product. Most people see just plastic houses all over the place, which, no fault to anybody there. It's just, it's the most affordable option. So that's what the subdivisions are built with for the majority of the time. It's the starting option, but it doesn't have to be your final option. So.
Well, there you go. Here's an expert. I mean, sharing, that's what the show is really about. We want people to share their tips of how they've made it and some of the things that they've learned to be successful. And you're a relatively young guy here, but I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you want to go out there, start after it and go after it and get it. And even so, when there's a technical minor adjustment in the studio, a guy can hold down the fort for us. Good job there. Well, people may not have noticed, but I scattered over there to see if I can tune things a little bit. It had to be done. I wanted to test something, but I said, Isaac, talk for a minute. Well, and he shared. So there you got a little extra from him because I made him, because he was the host for that matter.
Well, sometimes I like to throw in a little bit of stuff that's not company related, just try to help our younger generation out, because I know that a lot of them are kind of misguided now. They're a little bit lost in the sauce, because look at the past couple of years, man. The whole world's been lost in the sauce. We got to reinvigorate the younger folks, because they're our future, man. We got to guide them. Can't forget about them.
Absolutely. So, I mean, this world has never, nobody ever said it was going to be easy.
Oh, yeah.
And so here we are to help demonstrate the people that have made it and are very successful. You talked a little bit about the past. What is a personal hobby or something that would lead us to understand you personally a little bit better and what you enjoy? I mean, you've talked about cardinals. What else do you like to do for fun?
So honestly, I'm more of the outdoorsy type. I've always enjoyed just going out and hiking. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons I ended up in the Army for a while, because it's just stuff that I enjoyed doing. I'm currently I'm involved with a Cub Scout group over Cub Scout pack over by my house. That's my son's enrolled in the Scouts, and that's stuff that we both have a lot of fun doing it. We do hiking trips and just all kinds of cool outdoor activities. Keeps people active, keeps healthy minds engaged. It's really good for the kids when they grow up with that kind of stuff too, because it brings them back away from all the craziness of electronics now. So sometimes you just got to ground them again, like put them out in nature, let them enjoy what Mother Nature has to offer. Like electronics are great, but it can't dominate your world. I mean, you have to have a healthy balance of both. And I think that's where groups like that come in handy. And that's where I kind of fall into, is I fall into that as my so-called extracurricular,
Well, you're absolutely correct. I mean, how often do we find ourselves too glued to our phones. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I've even make that point, and I'm guilty of it as much
we
as
all
anyone.
are. Yep.
Where's my phone? Well, I do have mine back here just in case I need it, but I don't even put it in my pocket. I don't put it on the table. It's out of the way in case my mom calls me. If mom calls me, I mean, she might need some emergency help.
Got to be available.
She's on her own. But outside of that, when you get focused on work, you got to get it done. And I think that's what is a good attribution towards your success. And I appreciate you talking about that. How long have you actually been in this industry? When would you say was when you started doing it?
Man, I started working with my dad when I was still in high school. I'd be working, if I had a Saturday off, I'd be working on Saturday with Dad, you know. So I'd like to say I've been doing construction work in general, at least part-time, since I was 15. And then, you know, summer break from school, I'd be working full-time throughout the whole summer, putting siding on houses with my dad and my brothers. And when I got out of high school, I just kept doing it. You know, it was kind of a family trade, so.
Well, great stuff again. I mean, we want to put up on the wall here for everybody a little bit of what Isaac has accomplished with regard to. He's got some great reviews, and so you can usually tell if a business is on the ball because they do have some of the reviews out there that make it very clear. So with that, I'm going to jump over that screen, and you can see right here, all fives from what we can see right there. You've got going there a 4.5 overall average. And I know there's only a couple people that have had anything that was anything less than a 5, and you're even making sure that they're happy and make them a 5. But other than that, it's all 5s. It's like the 2 people didn't give you 5s, everybody else was 5s, and that's why you get such a good average.
Man, we try hard. It's impossible to be perfect all the time, but man, even if we make a mistake, I try my best to make it right. That's you know, it's not from lack of trying, that's for sure. You know, we take it very seriously. The guys work really hard to get some good accolades from customers. So, I mean, heck, it's at a point where it's not even a tipping kind of industry, but our crews regularly get tipped by customers just because they're happy with the quality of the work, and we don't even expect anything like that. Like the crew leader will randomly say, oh yeah, they gave me like $50 and said good job. It's like, wow, that's awesome. You know, like this isn't a tipping kind of industry, and they still get tipped sometimes. It's like, you know, that says something, you know.
Well, and I wanted to point out,
really appreciate it.
Look, so I just put up on the behind the reviews, and now I'm going to put, this is Isaac's website, and so lots of great information in here. If you want us to look at anything specific, but it's a dynamite looking site, and I think you're going to have an updated video at the bottom of the page here, but you learned to put that there. There's that original interview, but look for lots of cool and important information here. Great looking site, and shieldsiding.com that everybody can go and find out all that important information so they can catch up with everything you've got.
Yep, and it's a work in progress too, because like I said, I'm working on the rebranding right now, so there's a couple little tweaks we're going to make with the website and the Facebook page and literally everything. I mean, it's a lot of work to rebrand, but you know, it's good. It's for good reason though. I mean, I think we're going to be a lot more successful, even more than we have been, with a little bit of clarification on things that we do, and just it's way better just to have a direct funnel and just be more direct with the wording and everything. So, and also it expands the scope of things that we do, you know.
Very well said. And again, the emphasis for this show is to highlight the leaders, not necessarily so that you know some about, they get the spotlight put on them, and you're hopefully more familiar with them, but they'll share their secrets with you about, so you too can be successful, and also know who you can trust in our industry, people have been around, and it all works together. If you could tell me, what is one thing that you would say over the years that really has helped you to set yourself apart? When it really comes down to it, what cut you a grade above to where you've had the success you've had so fast?
Honestly, a lot of it revolves around quality. I mean, quality is always on the top of my mind, and it's a huge pet peeve of mine. If I'm doing one of the walkthroughs myself, man, I can have my best crew leader out there, I'm still gonna pick apart everything because it's just who I am, you know. Like I don't let things sneak by me. Even if it's something a customer never would have noticed, if I notice it, it bothers me, and I get it corrected. Even like the smallest little cosmetic details, you know. And that speaks a lot. It's almost like when you're it's like there's a saying for it. It's a small batch, high quality. You know, that's kind of the basis and the philosophy of the company that I try to promote. And you know, we don't hit it 100% every time because you know, people are people. You know, if somebody on the crew made a mistake, they made a mistake. I can't reverse time, but we'll make it right though. You know, that's just one of the things to where as long as we have it forefront, you know, front and center, the philosophy of what we're trying to achieve, then overall we're going to be getting there. You know, and that's what's important to me is, you know, it's okay to make a mistake. It's what you do with the mistake that makes the difference and says who you are. So that's what we really try to shoot for is quality over quantity. You know, I'm not trying to be the McDonald's of siding.
Well, you made a great point there, and that's the truth. My dad made this point to me. Rennie Knott just posted this. My friend, he's with KSDK here in St. Louis, and he said, it's not the mistake that causes you to fail. It's how do you respond to that mistake. And my dad had portrayed that to me years before, so I quoted my dad on this. Maybe the quote came from my dad originally, but what that is, it's not the error. We're big baseball guys, right? It's not the error that causes you to lose. There's going to be errors. It's saying, what do you do after that error happens? Do you collapse? Like we've seen happen. I won't name any specifics, but I can think of a World Series where the Cardinals kind of did that once. But they've not collapsed so many other times because they said, hey, something went wrong, but we still bounced back. And it's still true for business. We learn so much from sports about business and how to be successful.
The best lessons you learn is from your mistakes. That's what tells you where you may have been given 100% to this half of the operation, but maybe about 70% to that half, to where it's like, all right, well, let's redistribute some of that effort. We've perfected that system. Let's move our efforts to this one and make it great all around. So it's just, you learn from your mistakes. That's the way to do it. If you just put yourself down over it, you're just going to put yourself down for no reason,
True.
Learn from it, make it right.
Let's talk about, speaking of quality, speaking of products, let's put on camera here, everybody. I'm going to do a special Zoom with our high-end Zoom camera up there, but Isaac will put up for us some of his new products you'd like to share with everybody, if you would.
Yep. So I haven't really done much in terms of highlighting some of the windows that I'm really most excited about. And I don't know why. I guess I've just been too busy sometimes and it just never got prioritized. But you'll see it on our website with our Interlux windows. But I mean, I like to show these off. They're awesome. I mean, these are some of my favorite products that I have. And you can see the difference just in thickness. Like, this is a double pane window glass, and this is just a sample piece, obviously. But the thickness alone tells you everything. I mean, these glass units, this is just a double pane, but it's about 25% or 35% thicker than other double pane windows in the market. And it holds 40% more argon gas between your glass panes.
Yeah, pull that over here just a little bit so we can. Wow, look at that! Look how thick that is. That is see my ring there? It's about as thick as the ring. So and that is a heck of a glass window there.
Just imagine all the argon gas that you have between these two panes of glass. I mean, this is like really good stuff. So I brought two samples here. One of them is, this is what I call my budget-friendly option. There is a lower grade option than this, but this is middle of the line and one of my favorites. It's a 270 glass. So I'm going to do a little bit of technical know-how here. So when you're talking about low E, everyone's like, oh, low E window. But do you really know what that is? Most people don't. Before I did all my research and started my company and started educating myself on all the different products, I didn't even know. So I just knew I was installing an energy efficient window. But once I started getting, like, actually promoting my own company and getting into the sales aspect of it, I started learning about why things are called what they are. So there's more classifications in terms, so you have a low E 270 window right here.
Okay, and that's the one on, everybody's, if you're looking at the screen, it's everybody's left.
Yep, and then you have a low E 366. So the first number in that sequence,
hold on over here.
So the first number in that sequence, you got a 270. The 2 means there's 2 layers of silver on that glass. The 70 is your transparency level.
And so you can kind of see.
And then you'll see some fingerprints, because these are my sample pieces.
No, but I mean, you see, it's a little bit of a tint. That's what I was trying to point there. So it's helping to keep some sun out, but also we got some 3D effects going on here, ladies and gentlemen.
Those layers of silver actually cause some reflection. It bounces the UV rays off of your glass, and the argon gas inside there, that's going to be your insulating factor in your glass. So the fact we have more argon gas, we have multiple layers of silver on this glass, you're talking way better quality than anything else on the market. That's why I'm so excited about these windows, because if you compare these to the other top name, fiberglass windows, you've got Marvin, Pella, Anderson. We're also Anderson certified, so I'm not going to dog on any of my other products because I still sell those too. But this is the one I'm most passionate about, because this is I'm big on environmental safety standards. I'm big on maintaining our earth. Like I said, I'm an outdoors kind of guy, right? Sure. That goes hand in hand with protecting Mother Nature, because if we don't protect it, I don't have any outdoors to play in anymore. So that's a big thing for me, and it's very important to me to sell energy efficient products. So our siding, Hardy siding, is overall the most energy efficient green siding product out there on the market. When you combine just the makeup of the product versus the way they manufacture it with all the safety standards they have in place for green emissions and everything. So I align myself with products that are really good for our environment based on all the factors involved. So Interlux, they're awesome windows. I mean, and that's just the windows themselves. if you're talking, you know, exterior patio doors, like sliding glass patio doors, there's even more cool stuff involved with those. I mean, they make a big, nice sliding glass patio door, and it's got the same glass package right here. You can get different, you know, different types of customizations to it. You can customize the color of your frames. The rollers on the bottom, you know, sliding glass doors, they roll on a little roller. They actually have rollers that come from Australia, and they can hold up to 400 pounds each. That's insane. Like, they have the best rollers in the whole patio door market. You know, most people are like, oh, you're nerding out on doors. Like, I admit it, I am. You know, I'm excited about this stuff. You know, it's really awesome. Like, nobody else has this kind of stuff, and we offer it. We're an exclusive Enerlux dealer in St. Louis, and this stuff is really exciting to me because it's literally the best stuff on the market. You know, you have your same glass construction as the windows. It's the only 100% fiberglass door on the market in terms of sliding glass patio doors. So, and there's other brands that are awesome. They have good stuff, but ours is 100% fiberglass. So there you have it.
So it's stronger than my boat, maybe even. I mean,
well, I mean, I'm sure you could probably
fiberglass is like what they make boats out of, so that you
yeah. I
can
mean,
hit
if you're
the
talking
waves.
the frame around that glass, I mean, it's solid, man. It's good stuff. And then again, I'm gonna nerd out again a little bit. So if you're talking the weld is where you have your corners of your frame come together. That little corner on the outside edges. So Enerlux's corners, they have them. Their welds are stronger than anything in the industry. If you go on the actual Enerlux website, you will see they have a video, I'm pretty sure it's still up there, where they have a forklift test where they have forklifts tied, like attached to the windows. They're pulling them apart with machines. And you can see the durability of how much pressure it takes to actually pull apart one of their welds on a window frame, which is awesome because they use glue inside there that forges it all together. I mean, once it's bonded together, that stuff's not coming apart. So anytime, anything your house can do to you with weather, I mean, these windows are invincible to weather unless you have a tornado throwing rocks at it or something. So, I mean, like I said, I can nerd out on this stuff all day long. I'm excited about it, you know.
Very, very cool. Well, let's talk a little bit. Anything else you wanted to definitely demonstrate? You got a couple other things over here. This is a little bit of your siding you've got over there, I guess.
So the Hardy, I mean, we touched on that quite a bit on the first show that I did a while back, because that's pretty much our flagship operation. We've been doing Hardy for, you know, over 25 years, and that's
Hand
our
me one
big,
of those just so I can put it on camera, just in case people they didn't see
Oh,
that
yeah.
show. It's out there, but this stuff. Look at your regular siding, everybody, that you are so excited about that you have at your house. Well, this stuff blows it away. I've got the stuff that's not as thick as this, and yeah, our mics will pick that up nicely. But yeah, I mean, this literally, if we get back over here, there it is. I've zoomed in a little bit here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, hopefully. And now look at this. It looks like wood.
Yep.
But it's actually, this is like a plaster almost. Is that right?
It's got a raised cedar grain texture, and that's all molded in the factory like that. So it's cement board through and through. You don't have like a laminate layer on top like some like composite decking products do. This is cement board through and through. It does have, this is a pre-finished version with a Color Plus. So they pretty much run it through the machines where once it's molded and it comes out in sheets like that in planks, then they'll run it through a primer, run it through a painter machine, and then they actually bake on the finish. So this is a pre-finished, baked on paint finish.
All right, everybody, we're going to tell you a little secret right now, and that is this whole show has already gone with regard to what's airing on ABC. This is our 30-minute segment. It's 28 minutes, 30 seconds, so we've already gone through that. We're going to continue going here because we got a lot more to talk about. So if you want to watch the entire full interview, do so. It's on our YouTube channel. And we're going to give Isaac his copy of this too, so you can watch the whole interview you got there with so much more to cover. That's why I was like, Isaac, show us the other stuff too, because you got more important things here. We got to get it in before, because I can see my timer going there. But I'm over now, extended with that as well. But stay tuned for more. We're going to continue here about talking about more important stuff you need to know about your home. And the big next question I've got for everybody, and that is, what are the biggest mistakes consumers make?
That's a good one.
All right. Stay tuned. Here we go. We got more coming. Okay. With that, we continue on. And I go, hey, we're there. And I make a little excitement, because then I'll remember this when I see it when I'm editing. Say, hey, we're back. We're gonna continue here. Isaac, where were we at there? I wanted to make sure and interject that.
So we ran through some product offerings. I was really excited about my Enerlux windows, maybe a little too excited, but that's just who I am. You know, if I get something awesome, I like to share it with the world. So it made my life better, so it'll make your life better too. So I mean, just the basics of I can run through some install stuff too. I mean, just with our basic siding install, that ties in directly with where homeowners make mistakes when they're deciding which company to use. So you want to make sure that your salesperson that comes to your home and essentially sells you your project knows the install process as well. So you want to make sure that you have everything installed to manufacturer specifications. So the biggest thing you'll see out there, no matter what product you choose, whether you're choosing vinyl siding, hardy siding, LP, wood, anything you got out there, you want to make sure you have your warranties. If it's not installed right, that manufacturer warranty doesn't mean anything. So, because the manufacturer will send their rep out there, they'll inspect it, and they're simply going to say, oh, they didn't install it right, we're not going to honor it. So you got to be careful with that. So one thing that we do is on our contracts, we like to actually specifically write in that it will be installed to manufacturer specifications to hold all your warranties. Hardy standards, industry standards, no matter what product we're using, we make sure that you have verbiage in your contract that states that we will install it properly. That way, if we don't, then it's on us, and we back it up with our lifetime workmanship warranty as well. So we're confident in doing that, and that's why we're kind of picky with the products we choose. So that's why I love the Enerlux windows, because I trust the Enerlux windows. You can call it over-engineered if you want. I think it's perfectly engineered because it backs up a warranty 100%. It backs up my workmanship warranty 100% because I'm confident in installing it. And that just makes our customers feel very, very happy with choosing us as a contractor.
Well, and isn't that fall along the lines of if you're buying something for a temporary use, something, whatever that might be, but anything less than a house, you don't want to necessarily get caught up in a situation where you need something rebuilt. Whenever you have to do that, you're talking not just the price of parts, but the price of labor. And labor is one of the most expensive components for any project. You've got to talk to the companies around the world. They're always saying we need to fire people because. But that's serious something to consider when you're talking about a house. Why wouldn't you want something that goes, this thing can last through stuff that other houses will not make it through? I don't know if you can guarantee a tornado will hit it and could survive, but the odds are going to be a lot better with something that's high quality versus the stuff when you can see these houses. I know my own house, the vinyl looks good on the outside. It doesn't feel that strong when you're actually kind of pushing it. It wobbles a little bit, but that's what we had offered. I don't know if they had hardy siding available, but I mean, those are the kinds of things that make a big difference on a house.
And even then, I mean, you could have had a good installation crew too. I mean, we install some vinyl too, and we install all types of siding. Hardy's the one we're most passionate about, and we're a preferred remodeler with Hardy because it's our main specialty. But we install everything. We put up Versetta stone, we put up vinyl siding. I mean, we've done it all. If there's anything out there that we haven't installed, I'd probably be shocked if it's available in our area. I mean, heck, we put up Nietzsche panels on commercial jobs. I mean, we've done it all, man. And it's all about the install. That's the number one thing. You want that warranty, it's got to be installed by a good crew.
Yeah, the installation is key, and that's something that will ensure the success of your home. And along those lines, give me a couple other tips. What are big mistakes that consumer has to be concerned with, where they're like, well, I'm not sure if that's going to be handled for a long-term warranty, or big mistakes that people make, because this is a big investment. What else should people be concerned with?
I think you hit the nail on the head with one of the last things you said. You said big investment. So number one thing is you have to go into this knowing it's not going to be cheap. I mean, if you go for the lowest price, the thing that scares me the most is there's a lot of just like kind of fly-by-night guys out there who they will give you literally like call it an offer you can't refuse, but you should refuse it because that's your house you're talking about, man. You live in there. It protects you from the storms. It protects you from the snow. I mean, that's your castle. It's literally your little castle. Like that's well your bread and butter. And for most people, that's the biggest investment monetarily they've made their whole lives. Buying a home. And that's something you want to protect. If you get somebody out there that's 50% lower than all the other contractors, there's probably something wrong with that. So my recommendation, get a bunch of quotes, man. I mean, me personally as a consumer, I like to quote things out 3 ways. I like to do three quotes on every major purchase I do, and that way I can actually compare them, and it helps you vet companies better too. You just get 3 different quotes on everything. I also recommend, if you're going for Hardy, get your 3 quotes from Hardy preferred contractors. That way your odds of getting a good crew are much higher. So Hardy does have a list of preferred contractors on their website for every region. So we're one of them,
Well, take a look, everybody. I want to show one more time on the TV wall. I'm going to put on the wall number. This is our wall to the right. There it is. Just a little bit of the work that Isaac has done in some of his pictures that show as such, because when you can see that somebody has done good quality work, it's nice to know that, because it does make a difference when you can actually pay witness to what it is, some of the stuff that they've put together. And I want you to take, these are all available on his Facebook page. That's where I'm at. And I know you've got some great stuff on your website too. So very important. And we just want to make sure everybody does see that this is the kind of stuff you want to pay attention to. Because when you get to see the work, you get to see the final product, then you know what you're getting into. And
absolutely.
And we hope everybody does also enjoy getting to know Isaac a little bit through the show. And the second time we've done an interview with Isaac on our shows that are on ABC. Some of the things people also get concerned with. Tell me a time when you really felt like you had a client that you had to help them. You had to really go beyond the call because something happened. Somebody may not have done their work proficiently prior to you getting there, or and that happens. I mean, we're all human, but tell me a time when you really felt like you helped a client that was a difficult situation you came through.
So those pictures you just went through, the first one that was on there, that blue house, that was actually one of them. So what happened in that situation, there was a contractor that was he started the project. He claimed he was really good at Hardy, and Hardy is one of those, what I call specialty products. Is you have to have a very good knowledge base, and you have to be a good carpenter to know the basics of how to install that type of siding. Like it requires more skills than just basic vinyl siding skills. So it's more of a specialty type of install. So this other contractor started that project, and he never finished it. Left all his tools there, kind of bounced out of nowhere, never finished the project. And the things he did install were done so terribly wrong that the homeowner had leaks in his house. There was water getting in through his windowsills. The roof was installed completely wrong. So we discovered when we went into his attic, that contractor had put a roof with ridge vents. And ridge vents, when you install those, you have to have a slit cut on the top of where the plywood meets the plywood in the peak. You have to cut a slit up there, otherwise your ridge vent is not venting anything because there's no vent hole. So what's the point of putting a vent somewhere if there's no hole for flow to come through, right? So he had never cut back the sheathing. So he essentially had danger of getting mold in his attic because there was no ventilation up there. So luckily we discovered that by taking a look in the attic and making sure that he in fact did have ventilation coming out of the ridge vent. So they went back and corrected all that stuff. But yeah, we ended up finishing that project on the siding end of things and made everything great and brought it up to warranty standards, and the customer was very, very happy and appreciative of it. And his wife even wrote us a personalized little postcard thank you letter to us, and it was made us feel good, because we really had that feeling that based on how grateful they were, they took the time out of their day to personally thank us after the fact. And it's just, we felt the gratification from it. And that's really what makes it what it is. When you can do something that changes somebody's life for the better, it makes you feel good,
Well, that's important. I mean, it's key to success. If you're going to have a business, you've got to make sure the customer is always happy. And sometimes you have to explain to them why something may not be the way they thought it is, because it's not a perfect world. But it's the guy who makes it right, ultimately gets it done, and makes sure that they're happy. That does make for so much success. Tell me, if somebody's excited to work with you, they say, I'm ready to do this, what's the process to get started with you?
So we all start from, just like any other industry, we start with lead generation. So once we get a lead that comes through, I make the phone calls to introduce and make sure it's the right kind of lead as well, because sometimes somebody's just shopping for a little bit of information, but they're not really wanting to get an in-home consultation yet, which that's fine. If they're still information gathering, I'll talk to them on the phone, they can answer whatever questions they have, and then just tell them, whenever you're ready for a consultation, give us a call, we'll come over. So if it does turn into a consultation, we schedule the first consultation. Is essentially a education session where we'll bring stuff like these Hardy samples. We'll bring some, if they're interested in windows, we'll bring some window samples just to show them what we have to offer and why we offer what we're offering. Give them all the information, answer any questions they have, and then during that session we'll also take measurements. And then once we have the measurements answered, questions are all answered initially, we schedule a proposal review meeting. So proposal review meeting is scheduled after the fact because that gives us time to get the measurements we took, put together all the numbers. Once we figure out what all options they want for the scope of work, it gives us time to essentially build a quote for them. So, and all this is free. It's a free quote. It's a free consultation review. All of that it's not something we charge for, because usually when people are committing to that level of like, hey, come to my house and measure my stuff, they're usually ready for a project. So we don't charge for that service because the odds are pretty good that we usually get the job because people like us. But yeah, once that proposal review meeting is done, we show the numbers, explain what kind of financial situation people are in if they need financing. We've got two different types of financing. If they want to do it in cash, we can do discounts if someone's military, EMS, police, any kind of public servant, teachers. We give good discounts for people. We give senior discounts as well. We're always trying to help out our community. My best discounts are for veterans. I'm a veteran myself, so I've got a soft spot for them. So
Sure.
It's a little bit of favoritism there, but that's just who I am, man. I'm a vet, so I take care of my own. So that's everybody has their own story of who they take care of, and that's my sweet spot right there. So yeah, once somebody commits to a contract, they simply let us know that they're interested. I don't believe in the pushy sales stuff where it's like, oh, if you buy it now, we'll give you 30% off of everything. I don't believe in gimmicks. I mean, we shoot straight. We tell them this is what we can offer you. When you're ready, let us know, and we'll be happy to get you on the schedule. So it's a big investment. I mean, if you're looking at residing a house, you're looking anywhere from like 20 to 50, sometimes 70 or $80,000, depending how big the house is and how much work you're doing with it. So the pushy stuff is not something I agree with. I like to give people some time to think about it, weigh your options, get a couple of quotes from other people to see if we're in line with other people's pricing or not. But my philosophy is the pricing isn't really the important part. The important part is how comfortable you feel with your contractor. If you know their knowledge base is there, if you know they have a track record of achieving a good warranty standard, then that's who you hire. It's all about who you're trusting with your home, who you're trusting with your castle. So if you trust us, awesome, we'll take care of you.
Very important. Tell me one objection you have to overcome very often. What is somebody says, I think I want to do this, but what was something, just so other people that probably have a similar objection, you can kind of help them understand what that is right now.
I think the big thing in our industry is people underestimate how much it costs to remodel a house, because for one, owning a home is usually like I said earlier, it's usually the most expensive, most monetary value investment people make in their life. And once they figure out what it takes to actually replace things, that's a whole different sticker shock, item right there. So usually people come into the consultation reviews or the initial consultations. Usually people get into it after doing a little bit of research, so they're already kind of braced for it. But we do get a lot of customers that are like, wow, like that costs a lot. Sometimes I have customers that are living in the home for 50 years. Some of our older folks are like, last time they did something like this was 30 years ago, and a lot's changed in 30 years. Number one, we have a lot of composite products now versus a lot of wood that was used back in the day. Even wood now is more expensive than it used to be. Inflation, everything goes up, wages go up. So it's just one of those things where we try to eliminate the sticker shock by being as transparent as possible. So that's why I don't like those gimmicks. Gimmicks are for tricking people. I don't believe in tricking people like that. It's like, we're going to give you a price. This is how much we can do it for. And we don't judge a customer saying, oh, I think he can afford more, let's up it by 5%. We don't do that stuff. It's simply our price is our price. As a company, we have a margin because we're a business. We have employees to pay. I've got not just my own mouths to feed in my home. I've got all my employees and all their kids. We're feeding everybody in the organization. Yeah. We provide work. It feeds everybody in the organization. So that's what we're in it for. It's taking care of everybody.
A couple benefits I'd say there. One, it's still a small organization, so you're not like the big corporate stuff where you've got to deal with that. But I think everybody should understand. I mean, the people you deal with that are going, I don't want to pay above this, and I don't want to get that. I've gotten to where times where people were offering me a special deal. I'm like, I don't want that deal because I feel like then as soon as I get any kind of discount, the quality is going to go down. The labor is going to go down. There's going to be something they're cutting corners on to make it so they can still make enough money to make it worth their time, and it's just not worth it.
Oh, yeah. So we have ways to mitigate that. So once we get over that initial sticker shock, we're transparent with, just upfront, we're not going to be throwing 50% off deals of the whole project because if you can't do that and survive. We can do things like a 50% off the cost of some materials, because that's more realistic. You can do something like that, but you can't just do 50% off a $50,000 project and survive as a business. That's, again, gimmicky things, we can't do it. What we can do is our operational structure. So again, like you just touched on, is we're a smaller organization. I try to keep my overhead very, very low. I've been doing that since I opened my business, and I'm very, very serious about it. It's to the point where I work myself to death just trying to maintain that, but it works. It gives we have lower cost of operation, so we can provide better wages for our employees, so we retain better talent, and we also provide lower costs for our customers considering the quality of work they're getting out of us. So it's one of those things where it works out at my expense, of my sanity, I make it better for everybody. So it's I work a little harder in the back, behind the scenes myself, but it does benefit everybody down the road, because on average, compared to some of the big name companies that do our kind of work, we can be about 10% under that on average, just because I don't have a lot of the same overhead expenses they have. So I think that helps us a lot. I could do a lot with that 10%. I can give employees better wages. I can pass discounts to customers. I can reinvest in our employees and make them even better. It gives us a lot of flexibility, and that's a small price to pay for the extra work that I'm doing in the back scenes. So I think it's totally worth it, and it's been working.
Very important stuff. What is it that gives you the most satisfaction when it comes down to it? When the day is done, a lot of things you get some satisfaction from here. Giving some employees a place, to work, but your customers. I mean, what do you enjoy most about the whole thing?
The biggest thing is the before and afters. In my industry, those are so cool, because you literally have an old looking house. Like most people don't think about siding until they need it.
Sure.
Like when I bought my first house, obviously I thought about it because I've been in the siding industry my whole life, but other people that I talk to, they don't share the same story, to where they move in, and then 5 years later they're like, why is there water in my drywall? And then they start looking outside the house and they notice there's a water leak somewhere, to where most people don't think about it, but the siding and the roof, that's the shield of your home. That's your castle's shield. If that's failing, you're going to get water inside. And once you've got water inside your wall, it's a little more expensive than just replacing some siding, because then you're getting into drywall repairs, you're getting into insulation replacement. I mean, that's why it's always good to keep an eye on your castle. I recommend to people all the time, once a season, once winter time's starting, get out there, take a look. Or at the end of the season, even winter's done, your house went through a whole season of snow blasting, rain, cold weather, contraction from the cold. I mean, inspect your home at the end of every season and see if you can find anything that looks funky. If you see something that looks weird, give us a call. We'll give you a second opinion.
Valuable information here, everybody. Isaac Ovchinikov, an expert, a guru, somebody who's put years of work into building his own successful business, and that's key for you to know if you want to use his services. And at the same time, as a great explanation for those people who want to start their own company. Here's somebody who's done it. I bet if you called Isaac, he'd even give you some tips about how to run your business. He's a pro.
That's what my mentors did for me. And that's why I gladly pass the knowledge on, because that makes the world a better place. Because when you have somebody devoted enough to take that step of confidence, they change lives from their aspect too. Like, I can help somebody with some advice. In turn, they employ other people with that knowledge I gave them. So they're giving other people opportunities off knowledge that I imparted to them, just like my mentors did for me. So like all of my employees that I have right now, all the people I can provide opportunities for, in essence, that's thankful to my mentors as well, because they gave me the confidence and the knowledge that I needed to do that. So it's about passing that torch constantly. That's what makes humanity a better thing, is if people do it responsibly. You got knowledge, don't squander it, share it.
No, great, well said. And that's something that's important for all of us to understand, because we all live on this little planet together, and the more people. I finally, my parents kind of drilled this into me. I'm fortunate to have two teachers as educators, as parents. Help. And nobody ever said, though, the reason you help is because it ultimately comes back to you. They don't explain that part. I'm like, they should make that more clear, because a lot more people might do it if they realize it.
Full circle.
And the more people you help, essentially, you're building an allegiance to whoever it is you helped, and they may not necessarily return the favor initially, but they'll probably tell somebody, they'll remember it, and it's just a good karma thing. Somebody else will do, and that just makes the world a lot easier.
Yep. And even if it never comes full circle, you have to be able to just appreciate the fact that you did it. Like, at least in your own heart, you did what was right. That's all that matters.
And it makes you feel good, right? It puts you in that positive mindset, and that's important. If you have a negative mindset, your body's trying to do positivity, trying to produce something that's a positive action just by working, as being positive. And if you're negative, then you're not going to do a good job. You got the wrong attitude and approach. And that's where I was so fortunate with all I went through, my coma and all that. We try to expound that particular attitude towards the world. Tell me one more thing as we finish up here. Give us your favorite Cardinals baseball moment. If you could name one event that was the most exciting for you in all the years as being a Cardinal fan.
I think the most exciting to me, and again, it's something I kind of touched on earlier, is just the value of the fandom we have in St. Louis in general. The thing that set it aside is the very first Cardinals game I went to. That was back in 2007. And my girlfriend at the time, She had her dad gave us some tickets to go to because he couldn't make it himself. So I went down there, did the whole, that's before they had like, all the stuff they have out there right now. Like before, Cardinal Village pretty much existed. That was the old school out there. I can't even call that old school because it was already, newer than old school. But
Right.
it was a different vibe altogether. It was just like my first Blues game. Like you could tell the excitement and just the vibe in the crowd is different than other places I've lived at. Like it's just a whole different kind of like people truly are awesome fans out here.
Yeah,
Like
you go to some of the other cities. I've only been to a few,
Oh.
about 10 of them are the other cities if I travel around. But I've been to the Giants, Royals, the Cubs, and it's just there's no experience like you get in St. Louis. They just take it with such pride. They take it very seriously. When an opponent comes in town who's having an accolade or has done something, the Cardinals will cheer their opponent. It's just really neat. I think the attitude that
it's definitely a St. Louis thing. I mean, I apply that in business too. So Hardy does they did them before, but COVID they kind of shut it down for a little bit. They did what's called a Hardy Summit, where all the contractors are invited to go there, and it's like a weekend of seminars, education, training, stuff like business training for business owners. So it's a huge gathering of all kinds of Hardy installation companies. And the one thing that a lot of the Hardy reps had always commented to me, and my former mentor and a lot of us here from St. Louis, he said that, you St. Louis guys actually get along. Like if you go to other cities, those contractors are at each other's throats and they hate each other. Like out here, we might be competitors, but we still get along. We don't hate on each other out here. And I think that transfers a lot of it says a lot about St. Louis in general. Yeah. And that's why the fans are so great out here, because we have an honest fan base that respects and greatly admires and helps their team with motivation, but they also don't jump on other competition's throat so hard. It's about integrity, and I think we got a lot of it out here.
That's awesome. Well, great note from Isaac here. Great interview. Appreciate you taking some time to help our community understand who they can trust in the siding world with regard to talking about your own company and the fact you have respect for the other people in our community that do the same thing you do, and also how to run a successful business and what it's like to go through the growing pains and the rebranding and everything that's necessary to be successful. And I think it's important for our audience to understand. Appreciate your time coming here and talking about that.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to get our name out here again. So
Isaac Ovchinikov, I'm going to put his title up there one more time for everybody. Owner, Shield Siding and Restoration. You can see the phone number there, 636-538-5095, shieldsiding.com. All right, everybody, stay tuned for more. This is your little castle show. Check us out, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, just about anywhere on all the social media. You can watch the full interviews for all of our business owners, friends that have been here, and we'll really share with you some great information. Stay tuned for more, everybody. Giddy up.